Welcome to Translation Compass, the localization podcast. This podcast is presented by Leginda, the online translation agency. Today we are dialing into a question we hear a lot. What does a translation agency actually do?
Ooh, that's a good question. Because on the surface, it seems pretty straightforward. But there's a whole lot more to it than just, swapping words from one language to another.
Right, because I feel like everyone kind of understands that if a company wants to sell its product in, say, Japan, they need their website and packaging in Japanese.
Absolutely. Global expansion is a huge driver of the translation industry. But think about a company like Netflix. They've got subscribers in almost every country. To keep those viewers happy, they need subtitles and dubbing for thousands of hours of content in dozens of languages. That's a massive undertaking, and it goes way beyond just basic translation.
Okay, so it's about scale and complexity, but what makes it more than just swapping words?
Well, imagine you're launching a marketing campaign in France. You've got a catchy slogan that works great in English, but a direct translation might not have the same impact or worse. It could even be offensive. A good translation agency will consider the cultural context, the target audience, and adapt the message so it resonates. That's where things like transcreation come in.
Transcreation.
It's basically taking the core idea of the source content and recreating it for a new language and culture. Think about video game localization. Sometimes character names, dialogue, even the game's storyline needs to be adjusted so that it feels authentic and engaging for players in a different culture.
So it's about preserving the meaning and the feeling. That makes a lot of sense. I'm starting to see why a business wouldn't just use, say, Google Translate for everything.
Right, and don't forget about the technical side of things. Legal contracts, medical reports, engineering specifications. These documents require absolute accuracy and specialized terminology. One wrong word could have serious consequences.
Yikes. So let's walk through how this actually works. A company comes to a translation agency with a project. What happens next?
First, it's about understanding the client's goals. What are they trying to achieve? Who is their target audience? What's their budget and timeline? Then we analyze the content. Is it a website, a brochure, an app? What style and tone do they need?
I imagine there are a lot of different skills involved.
Exactly. And finding the right translator is crucial. We're not just looking for someone who's bilingual. We need native speakers who are subject matter experts. A legal translation should be done by a translator with a legal background, a medical translation by someone with medical expertise, and so on.
Okay, so you've got your expert translators, but I know technology plays a big role these days.
It does. We use CAT tools, which stands for computer-assisted translation tools. These help ensure consistency, manage terminology, and streamline the workflow. And then there's machine translation, particularly neural machine translation, or NMT. It's come a long way in recent years. But it still needs that human touch for quality and nuance.
Right, because I can imagine machine translation could lead to some funny, or maybe not so funny mistakes if you're not careful.
Absolutely. There's a classic example with KFC. Their slogan, "Finger Licking Good," was poorly translated in China as "Eat your fingers off." Not quite the message they were going for. That's why human review is so essential.
Definitely. So you've got the translation, it's been reviewed. What happens then?
Well, quality control is paramount. A good agency will have multiple rounds of editing and proofreading to catch any errors. And we adhere to international standards like ISO 17100, which sets strict guidelines for translation quality. Finally, we deliver the translated content to the client in the format they need, whether it's a document, a website, or even software code.
This is all fascinating. But I'm sure some companies are thinking, can't we just do this ourselves? What are the pros and cons of using an agency versus building an in-house translation team?
That's a question a lot of businesses grapple with. In-house teams can be great for companies with a very high volume of specialized content, like a pharmaceutical company that constantly needs to translate clinical trial documents. They have a deep understanding of their own products and processes.
But for many businesses, that's probably not realistic.
Right, and that's where agencies shine. We offer scalability, flexibility, and expertise across a wide range of languages and subject areas. Plus, we handle all the project management, which can be a huge burden for an in-house team.
So you become an extension of their team?
Exactly, but with so many agencies out there, choosing the right one can be tricky.
Exactly. So how do I choose the right translation agency? What are the key things to look for?
Do your research. Look for an agency with experience in your industry and a proven track record. Ask about their quality assurance process. Do they use multiple editors and proofreaders? Are they ISO 17100 certified? And find out what technology they use. Are they leveraging CPAT tools and NMT to enhance efficiency and consistency?
So it's about finding a partner who understands your needs and shares your commitment to quality.
Absolutely. A good translation agency can be a valuable asset, helping you break down language barriers and connect with your global audience in a meaningful way.
This has been incredibly insightful. For our listeners, if you're thinking about expanding your business globally, or even just reaching a wider audience locally, consider partnering with a translation agency. It might just be the key to unlocking your full potential. Thanks for tuning in. This has been Translation Compass, the localization podcast, presented by Leginda, the online translation agency.